Hello everybody, welcome to GG. I'm going to give you a preview towards what is one of my favourite days of racing all year, the Breeders' Cup on Saturday, 9 Grade 1s. I won't go through them all because we'll be here all night, but I will give you a few fancies towards the main races, and the official feature, of course, is the $6 million Classic. No standout performer this year, but 10 of the 11 of them in the race are Grade 1 winners, and McKinsey is clinging on to favouritism despite being beaten last time by Mongolian Groom. He looked very good when winning the Whitney at Saratoga in August, but since then that defeat has just raised a few question marks about him. I've always had a few queries about his attitude, and of course there's this worry that he's never won over 10 furlongs, so a few questions to answer for the favourite. But he is the class act in the race, and I think if he's able to stride on, then we could see him to better effect under a new jockey, of course, Joel Rosario. Beyond him, it does look very, very open. Bill Mark can't split his two, that's Yoshida and also the filly Elate, but I think I might take a chance on Vino Rosso, who we know at least is effective at this trip around Santa Anita. He won the Gold Cup there earlier on in the year, and he's a good horse, and maybe on his day he could just upset them, but say no clear fancies for that race. The turf also isn't perhaps the strongest we've ever had, but bricks and mortar had Chad Brown kind of thinking where should he go with this horse. He also entered him in the mile. He's never run over the 12 furlongs, so that is a bit of a worry. Though the way he runs in his races, he's often held up, comes from off the pace with one sustained burst. I think he'll be alright at the trip. Anthony Van Dyck, of course, the Derby winner, runs for Aidan O'Brien, although he's got a little bit to prove, I think, after disappointing on his last few starts. And then there's Old Persian as well in there for Godolphin. He runs on the Lasix. I think that will certainly help him. But last time out, it was a weak renewal of that Northern Dancer turf that he won over in Canada. And I think that the fact that he does sit close to the pace will help him, but he does have a wide draw, so William Buick will have to try and negotiate that. Onto the mile, and we have another Aidan O'Brien favourite in this one. Circus Maximus lines up for him, and I think he's going to take all the beating. It was a good win last time in the Prix de Moulin. However, he's never won on ground this far, so that's a little bit of a worry for me, and I'm going to take him on with the Mark Cassie trained filly Got Stormy, who I thought looked really good when winning the 4-star day at Saratoga. She's been beaten since in the Woodbine Mile, but she's still a smart filly. He's likened her to Tepin, who won this race for him a few years ago. So she's the one for me, and at a slightly bigger price, I think he's around 16 to 1. I also like LeCullen in there for Godolphin. He was impressive last time in Grade 2 company at Belmont, so maybe he can cause a bit of an upset there, but certainly one for the each-way backers. Have a look at the main Phillies race as well. That is the Distaff, and it's got one of the hot pots on the whole card. Midnight Bizu hasn't been beaten this season. She probably won't be on Saturday, but I think if you want one with a bit more value, then Wildcat just building up to a big run, I think, and she certainly stays this trip. She was a winner in South America over further, so maybe she's one who can just shake up the favourite a little bit, although she does have ground to make up with her on their meeting last time. There are a couple of what people are saying are bankers on the card. Omaha Beach should be too good in the dirt mile, and probably as well Kofefi in the filly and mare sprint. And the interesting thing about the dirt mile is that several horses have bypassed that in order to run in the sprint, which is the race of the night. I think it's an absolute cracker. Mitoli is the worthy favourite. He's done very little this year. His one defeat did come though at the hands of Little Imperial Hint, who is having his third try at this race, and sadly I think it might not be his year again. And I'm going to go for Chancelot, trained by Jorge Navarro, who says he's very, very confident of a big run from this horse, who was just beaten by the aforementioned Omaha Beach in the Santa Anita Sprint Championship last time. He's a prodigious talent, as we saw when he ran away with a Group 2 at Saratoga back in the summer. And the time after that, you can also forgive that defeat because he was on a dead rail. So he's an interesting one for me, and he'd be my pick in the sprint. So that's it. Good luck to everybody playing the Breeders' Cup on Saturday.